Welcome, hi, and thanks for joining us for this segment 2 of Coping Through COVID-19. My name is Bev Evans and I head up the Evans Wealth Management team at Richardson GMP. My team and I originally presented this as a live virtual town hall on April 17th, and we got such great feedback and requests to be able to share this information that we thought we would make a series of 3 different segments. Today is segment 1. But I'm going to start this session the same way as I started the live town hall, and that's first to ask you, how are you doing? We're now into our 7th week of staying at home through the COVID pandemic, and although we're getting kind of used to it, it's not really getting any easier. This crisis is very difficult on so many levels: health, wealth, and happiness, and we hope that through helping you today with some practical tips, suggestions, and ideas that we can make things a little bit easier for you. Today, it brings us to segment 2 of our series, Coping Through COVID-19. And what we're going to do is focus on the silver lining of this time at home. And I'm going to share a lot of resources and suggestions and some great stories of actual situations that we're hearing from clients and friends who are really able to make the most of this time at home and having some fun with it. We're also going to look into the power of positive psychology and draw on some support from the science of happiness. First, I'll do a quick recap on segment 1, and then we'll work through into today's program. So please relax, sit back, and enjoy the slides. I'll be dropping off the corner of your screen for a little while I'm presenting. And as always with technology, and as we embrace this new technology that's a way of presenting virtually, please bear with me if we run into a little snag, and I appreciate your patience. We'll get right back on track. So please enjoy, and let's get started. This presentation was originally designed to help our clients and their families cope through the crisis because we care about them very deeply. The cornerstone of my team's relationships is what we call life wealth, and it's something our clients have come to count on. It means bringing them the resources, the network, and the expertise to help them make informed decisions with confidence when faced with some of life's most challenging transitions. Our team has extensive experience guiding our clients through these various life transitions, and some of these will happen to some of us. But I don't think we ever could have expected to be going all through this same massive transition together. The novel coronavirus and COVID-19 pandemic have really abruptly changed our lives, perhaps forever. Not only there's the immediate impact of some of these things that we've experienced in the process, but there's changes to our economy, our healthcare system, how we interact socially, and of course, for the many people who are affected directly, things will never be the same. Fortunately, we've got some success in flattening the curve after 7 weeks of lockdown, and it now begs the question, where do we go from here? And that brings a shift to the uncertainty that has been such a constant throughout this crisis. Uncertainty and all the disruption that goes with it is, it's very disorienting. It leaves us scared and it leaves us stressed. So let's take a quick look at where stress comes from. This is something we identified last time, and it's just this feeling of helplessness that we often get from a sense of a lack of control. But understanding the key to stress also helps us understand that there are choices we can make. Having a look at this graphic, and now I've come to sort of think of it as a peach, we can see that it has 2 halves. And outside of the peach, there's all kinds of things that are going on that could be a stress, if we let them. But there's lots that we can't control over here, understanding that the virus itself is evolving, world politics, stock markets, interest rates, all things that we can't control. But there are also the other side of the peach, there are things that don't matter. In our investment process, for example, we don't worry about market to minute changes in the market or in the price of a particular stock. If you are feeding yourself BNN continuously, then you're probably doing a lot of harm because they're always going to find something to talk about. You're better spending your time here. And that is really to narrow your focus to the intersection of where things matter and things can be controlled. And I think of that sort of as the seed in the peach right here. This is where you have the ability to impact an outcome with your decisions, with your actions. With COVID-19, that means washing your hands, stay at home, social distancing, maybe wear a mask, but do your part. As for anything else, know when to let it go. And to a great degree, reducing your stress means focusing only on the seed and letting go of the rest. We also worked in segment 1 through a quick list of tips that are key to helping you deal with uncertainty and disruption of any circumstance. If you missed it, I do encourage you to go back to segment 1 and check it out. I got a lot of feedback that these tips were very practical and very helpful and easy to follow. The key takeaway, above all, was to relax your standards. Take it a day at a time and keep yourself from getting overwhelmed by taking care of yourself. Let's get back on our journey now with segment 2 and look at some specific ways to not only keep busy, but to really embrace the situation that we're in. And that is namely where we have some time on our hands. And maybe we can turn that into having a little bit of fun. Now, speaking of fun, we're going to go through a whole bunch of things that you can do with your time. And the slide's going to move along fairly quickly. This is one of those glitches that didn't quite behave. So stay with me and let's explore the fact that we can embrace this time. Just because we're separate and sometimes on our own doesn't mean we can't get social. So here are some ways that we can do that. And a lot of them, well, they all actually are going to be centered on what you can do with your computer. You've joined us today on Zoom. And that means that via your tablet or computer, you have the ability to discover a whole world out there at your fingertips. So let's explore. Cocktail parties. So many great stories about people gathering on Zoom. As a family, one of our families had 19 people join each other for an Easter visit and thought, wow, how cool was that? Everybody appeared in a little box and were able to see each other and visit from coast to coast and really gave them a real boost. Also, we have taken to having fivesies or a 5 o'clock cocktail, for example, with a friend or two each week. Just a nice way to see each other, catch up, and feel connected. I have a friend who visits with her young granddaughters every day for at least 1 to 2 hours. It gives her mom a break, as she is tending to other things, and over Zoom, grandma and the grandchildren play Barbies, hide and seek, have tea, and my friend said, my goodness, I never spent this much time before them and I never could have. They'll always remember this time we have together. Another friends we have that are part of a 150-piece choir and are getting together and singing every week, still making music. They even double book themselves on a Friday night for board games, which can be played on Zoom as well. The idea is there's dance sessions, puzzles, yoga, cards. Really, there almost isn't anything that you can't do by Zoom. And remembering how important exercise is, as we learned from the first session, it's part of self-care and it's a big stress reducer. You can either exercise alone or you can even join a class live. This is a concept that was first attributed to Peloton, but it's now available in so many ways. I do a workout on Saturday at 10 o'clock with the same group I used to gather with at the gym, and there we all are by Zoom, keeping each other accountable, because that's a class you don't want to miss. And staying with fitness, the home fitness business has just exploded through this crisis. The saying is that kettlebells and yoga mats are selling just like toilet paper. So with a few simple items, you too may be able to make yourself a little home gym and no excuse not to exercise. Speaking of which, I recently got a Fitbit just at the start of the crisis. It was the best thing because if you believe in the adage, what gets measured gets done, you will find yourselves doing all the right things to take care of yourself. Drinking water, moving, not sitting so long, and having a good rest. Fitbit helps with all of these, gives you a little report every day, and it's always the highlight of my day is to see my sleep report. So something to think about there. House Party. That is a social networking platform, and you can do any kind of coordinated activity together. We had a client family who did a paint night on a Saturday night. Everybody chose a painting and they all created their version of it and showed it to each other on camera over the course of an hour on Saturday night. Had a great time. Another one is Duolingo. Watch parties. Watch parties are a Facebook service that allow multiple people to watch the same thing together and chat in real time. It could be recorded or it could be live, but it just shares that sort of same experience of being in the same theater or the same living room. Duolingo is another app that's kind of set up in a fun game style way that you can either learn or anew or brush up on another language. It's free, and there's even a version for kids. For my part, I'd rather be working on my German if I had the time. I'd also rather be cooking German. And cooking and being in the kitchen is one way that a lot of people are spending time and fattening the curve, if you will. So if you're a fan by chance of Nona, who's an 84-year-old Italian grandmother, she has a huge following and she's now gone live. So you can cook with Nona live. You might use a couple of different apps that ask you what's in your kitchen and your fridge and put together a menu for you and have good fun that way. And eat healthy in the process. Maybe you want to get out of the house virtually. And there's a lot of great opportunities on Google Arts and Culture where you can go for different tours. You could visit the Colosseum in Rome or the Palace of Versailles in Paris. Again, a way to see things without even needing to leave your home. And if you're into treks, there's a lot of live streams where you could visit Churchill, Manitoba for a polar bear viewing or Everest Base Camp. You could see the San Diego Zoo or many of the other wonders of the world or great attractions. The whole idea is to get out there and have some fun. Seize the day and find the silver lining of this great pause. So I hope this is a list that's got a few new ideas for you, brings you some inspiration to realize that you really can tap into your computer as a gateway to the world. On a personal note, I know I'm very grateful for technology bringing the human touch to that, what matters most to me. That's my mom being in long-term care and my dad in a retirement residence. While they're only 3 kilometers apart from each other, they haven't seen each other in over 7 weeks. Both residences have been wonderful and are now arranging Zoom and Skype meetings for residents to be able to see their loved ones. And this Saturday, my mom and dad are going to be able to have a video date, the next best thing to being there. So I say thank you, and I do encourage you to embrace technology. I do want to acknowledge that for the reasons like I just described with my parents and for many other families, these times can feel very heavy. Yes, we can try to keep ourselves busy, but we're always going to be a little bit worried about some of the others in our life. After all, this situation is not normal. We're all experiencing a sense of loss. It's a type of grief. We're missing our social anchors, the routines, the schedules, the events, and the people that normally provide our context. And we're probably not doing our normal roles or relationships either. Then there's the whole Groundhog Day aspect where every day feels the same. It's very disorienting, and I know it's tough. I find myself missing holidays that we're not going to be taking in the future. Simply think, geez, right now is about when I would love to be camping. There's highs and lows, and maybe we can each find a way to sort of flatten our emotional curve now during these times. But we've got to remember that the antidote to loss and pain is vibrancy. Vibrancy meaning energy and enthusiasm. And nothing restores energy and enthusiasm better than a good laugh. And it's okay to have a few laughs. I think this little graphic says a lot, sort of tongue-in-cheek, when we think about what we've seen over the course of this pandemic and sort of the different types of consumption. We definitely know what happened with toilet paper. And I think this very abrupt curve has now been replaced with hair color products as people are kind of getting into a little bit long in their natural color. The idea is also that we've seen a big increase in sweatpants and comfort. We'll talk about that in segment 3. And of course, we have good old coffee, but it's done in such a way that it's fun. And it's so important to still find fun. Enjoy some great jokes out there. There's stories, memes. That makes us human. Perhaps you've got a friend who sent something your way and made you smile. Pass it on. Maybe it's like the video of the fellow who's salsa dancing against a mirror. It looks like he's with a partner perfectly in sync. Or maybe the guy who pours cooking oil on the floor of his laundry room and then pretends he's walking on a treadmill. One of my favorites is my good friends, Olive and Mabel. This is a video that went viral by a Scottish sports broadcaster, Andrew Cotter. And in the absence of having any sport to cast on, he is staying sharp by giving a very descriptive and lively play-by-play on the shenanigans of his 2 labs. This particular episode is called Game of Bones, which is essentially a staring contest between Olive, the older, more experienced dog, and Mabel, the young and patient challenger. You'll never guess how it ends, and I laugh every time, and it feels great. Finding things that feel good is part of staying positive. So is celebrating. Given birthdays are now being celebrated in new and wonderful ways, and including the drive-by birthday party. So share the jokes and share the joy. So we have to keep practicing and be happy. Speaking of practicing, this takes us back to a session that our teams hosted as part of our Life Well speaker series last spring, right around this time. And it was on the power of positive psychology. Consider that positivity doesn't mean you think everything's okay. It very definitely is not. But positivity is a state of mind that you can nurture and you can develop. It involves optimism. Yes, you've got to start with a glass that's half full. But to nurture that optimism, there are things you can do to keep perspective and to reinforce that there still is good in the world, good in your home, good in your day and in your life. Here are some tools to help you with that. First, mindfulness and meditation are very closely related, both aimed at helping you stay in the present. When you stay in the present, this frees you from ruminating about the past and dwelling in regret over things that you can't change. And it frees you from worrying about the future with anxiety about things that may not matter or may be out of your control in the first place. Just think of the peach. So being present frees you up for just those few minutes from all that noise in your head. Here are a couple of apps that can help you with your own meditation practice, and they're especially good for beginners. This is something that would be new to you. It's the first one is called Headspace, and the second one is called Daily Calm. It's interesting to notice that downloads of the top 5 most popular mindfulness apps have already grown by 85% in 2018, and people were already trying to find relief from stress and anxiety in such a fast-paced world. And now, in this last week of March, during the COVID-19 crisis, Headspace saw a 19-fold increase in users completing calming exercises, and they saw a 14-fold surge for those people doing sessions on reframing anxiety. So people are using these tools. And if you've never tried meditation or had much luck with it, I highly recommend using one of them. They have 30-day free trials, and then you can decide if you want to subscribe. I use Calm in the mornings, and I love that in addition to the guided breathing aspect, say for 10 minutes, there is also a little supportive life lesson to take away. Maybe it's on patience or kindness or creativity, but it sets your mood for the day. Another thing that sets your mood for the day is gratitude. Gratitude means being grateful for the things that you have and not dwelling on the things you don't. Recognizing that simple things in life that you do have, look at all the things that you share in here on the chart, whether it's a sunrise or a sunset, the company of friends, clean air, the ability to rest, enjoying art or music. These are all things that we can really take pleasure in. And using an app or a paper journal by writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day is a great way to just reframe your day as something that's going to start positively. Take 5 is something I've used, which is digital, and it also asks you for a little reminder at the end of the day on how your day went. And it just really completely reframes and changes how you think about your day. The last point is about how you're feeding your spirit, and that's where podcasts might come in. A podcast is something where you can choose to listen to and is something where you can sort of nurture mind, body, and soul. One of the most popular podcasts is by Brene Brown. She's a professor and lecturer, and she's known for the Unlocking Us podcast series. Her TED Talk on this topic is one of the 5 most viewed in the world. And as an example of positivity, it's out there. Just seek it out. Look on YouTube. She and many others are offering insight into joy and gratitude, positivity, and just embracing a positive view. Your mind, your body, your spirit will thank you. And so will you, your family, your community, because we all have a choice to make in this crisis. And that choice is, who do you want to be during COVID-19? This graphic may be a little bit hard to see, but it deals with a continuum of our emotions. And it sort of shows the journey that we've had from maybe having started originally with not a lot of information, and we might have been in this fear zone. And then we're having the chance to evolve. And I want to thank my friend Brian Douglas and Sweatshop Union, a fitness clinic in Oakville, that took the opportunity to expand this graphic to see the evolution of how we can grow. So the idea is, maybe in the early days, we thought about hoarding toilet paper or food out of fear. And eventually we can grow instead to thinking of others, how we might turn what we have in a way to help them. Maybe it eventually ends up being leadership and the thinking of how you can use your talents or those of others to help people in ways that you can do that uniquely. It's again a continuum, and I like that some of the thoughts developed from a place of fear to learning to growth, and if you're heading up a team or business or even your family, how you can take a leadership view. That's where I'm going to leave things for today's session of this segment of Coping Through COVID-19. We're going to have our final session where we're going to talk about working from home. What does that really mean? Because today the COVID-19 crisis has us in stay-at-home mode, and this has presented a whole new set of stresses and challenges for people who are working in their homes alongside their families, their children, and yes, maybe even their pets. If you've been in work from home mode, have you found it surprisingly tiring, maybe exhausting almost? I know I have. And I'll deal with why this is the case. There's actually some science to it. And we'll talk about some factors and fixes that you can use to make yourself feeling less stressed and less tired. We're also going to cover some basic tips on being more successful for everybody in your household, and a little bit of help on video conferencing etiquette. And for now, I'm going to rejoin you. And that's to thank you for joining us today. To our clients, please know that through this time, this most universal, difficult life transition, team and I are here for you. Whether it's health, wealth, or happiness, we're committed as always to being a resource for you and your family. If you're not currently a client and you'd like to know more about our Life Wealth approach, let's talk. We're fully functional during our work from home mode, and we're able to take on new right fit clients. It starts with a getting to know you process. So please look us up and connect with us. It's coming up. Please connect through our website, Your Life Wealth Plan, or by giving me a call. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay home if you can, and let us know if there's anything that we can help you with. We're here, we care, and we're ready when you are. Let's see you again with segment 3. Have a great day. Yay!